Last night, we were introduced to a different Mets team. You know what they're called? The anti-Mets. That was not the Mets team that we usually see. The Mets last night really were the anti-Mets. Now pitching for the New York anti-Mets. They weren't clutch. They were sloppy, and they were mistake-laden. How? And I know he was off on the pitch. I know he's got wheels. How the hell at this level does anybody let anybody score? I don't care if Usain Bolt is going from first base on a base hit up the middle. That should not happen. Now, the good news is with the Mets, this stuff usually doesn't happen. But I'm going to say something that Met fans might not agree with on the surface. They might scoff at. They might say, get back in your Yankee hole. I don't know what they'll say. That's what the phones are for. All right? This weekend will determine whether or not the Mets win the division. This weekend will determine whether or not the New York Mets win the NL East. That's it. So it's not time to panic. It's just time to keep going. It's time to flush last night, and it's time to keep doing what you've been doing. But this is the weekend where if you are a little predisposed to being nervous or a little bit of an alarmist or a little overreactive or whatever, this is the weekend that you need to see pass by without anything out of the ordinary in terms of being bad. 3.5 up on the Braves. 4 up in the loss column. You guys are still running the show. You are still leading the race. You're setting the pace. But, certain things you can't ignore. And we talk about the Yankees, whether it's comical errors on the bases in Seattle. Now the defense is atrocious. LeMahieu not catching that ball from Donaldson last night. Hicks the other night, turning around in 13 circles. You've seen it, right? You've seen this. But the Mets, in the 3 losses this week in Atlanta, they were outscored 21-3. That's ugly. That's ugly. And I think, as DeGrom was, he really is. The guy had his B- game, and he's basically still amazing. DeGrom is the man. Nobody's here to say otherwise. But I think anytime you don't win a game that DeGrom pitches down the stretch, and you can certainly say the same with Scherzer, although they won the previous night with Scherzer 9-7, the only win of the series. It's a lost opportunity. Listen, this weekend's not going to be easy. Keith Hernandez can say whatever he wants to say. And I love Keith. He say whatever he wants to say about the Phillies, but the Phillies can hit, man. And you got Bassett tonight. Oh, that's somewhat comforting. And then tomorrow, as much as I say, and I believe it, this weekend will determine whether or not the Mets win the division. Tomorrow really is the day that you circle because you got a doubleheader. You got Peterson, game 2, probably going to be Trevor Williams. I don't think that's been announced yet. And then Sunday is a bit of a crapshoot as well. Could be Walker. How do you say that? Could be Buto. Is it Buto? Is it Buto, right?
Buto.
Buto. How you doing there, Hoff, by the way, Mr. Met?
That sucked yesterday. Listen, do I think that the division is up in arms after this weekend? No, I don't. But yes, it was the worst loss of the season for the Mets, no doubt. There's so many things that went wrong for the Mets that I can go off, but I'm going to try not to.
Well, why not? Go off, dude.
Well,
you just played terribly for a couple of games. Go off.
Well, first of all, listen, and I love Brett Beatty's bat. I love it. But first of all, that play at third base, got to help out your pitcher a little bit. He's have an off day.
You thought about the one he didn't get to his left, to his left?
Which eventually put on Grisham, which
you got to be fair. That ball was a rocket.
But it's a calamity of errors.
That's
which
not.
Then you bring in. Then they bring because it's the ground last batter. Then you bring in Seth Lugo, who can't help you out. You let the ball go up the middle, and Nimmo with the noodle arm can't get. There's just it's just a trickle down effect, which it's frustrating because it doesn't happen often.
No, it doesn't. Which is why you don't go nuts about it. You don't. And I'll tell you what. If you want to go after him, you can. You're going to be shut down very quickly here. Completely absolving Francisco Lindor for the base running. You want to call it a mistake? Okay. However you want to frame it. Now, Hoff's telling me before the show, well, Pete Alonso should have taken the pitch. All right. You want to tell me Jansen's got one of the slowest deliveries in baseball? Yes. Everybody knows that. That's one of the most basic things on the scouting report. give him a chance to get the second. Okay, I can live with that, but I can't just drop it at Pete's doorstep. And our Pete was kind of doing that this morning.
But it's Little League 101 there, BT. This guy's 3 for 24 now. He's strung at the plate. It's like, Lindor's going to go off.
Yeah.
Give him a shot to get there. They did it with Marrero when he came on base later. I mean,
and he had a great jump, too. There's no way he's not stealing second. But here's the thing. Because Alonso's in a funk, and it happens to every great player on every good team, Judge has had a few moments of emptiness this year. Not many. And so is Alonso. But he is 3 for his last 24, so if he's not going to get a hit with him on first base, why is he going to get with him on second base?
You got to just hope that he maybe like hits a long deep fly that could put Lindor on third. That's a little small ball there for a change. I know we're not used to that because we've been getting clutch hits and everything like that. But I mean, you got to think of the bigger picture. And Lindor, unfortunately, it looked so sloppy because he did what you're supposed to do.
Yeah.
Turn back, the ball's hit, he slides, he sees the ball in the air, he goes back, he went back too far. He should have gone halfway.
Well, that's true. And they said that on the broadcast. If I do want to nitpick a little, again, I'm going to absolve Lindor from that. But if you want to nitpick a little, you got to take a peek as you're 3/4 way towards second base. And, when somebody swings, you probably shouldn't go face first. But to me, that is a small blueprint item right there. The play that just makes you nauseous is, when you have a runner from first base scoring on a 7-hopper to center field. What is this, 9U baseball? I mean, you coach, I coach. If that happened on our team, I mean, we wouldn't bench the kid and we wouldn't berate the kid, but you better believe we'd be working on that the next day, and he would know in real time, hey, we got to charge that ball more aggressively. Let's go.
That's what we talk about in baseball is charging the ball. I mean, and listen, that Nimmo's arm is not strong, so
he's got a noodle.
He has to be aware of that much more.
100%. It's almost like Chad Pennington, who didn't have a great arm, but he was a good quarterback, but didn't have a great arm in terms of zip. He had great arm in terms of placement and great anticipatory skill, but it's not the exact same thing, but it's kind of the same. Like, if you're a soft-thrown outfielder, your route to the ball cannot be even one step on the extraneous side, and he runs. Like, if it's a lumbering outfielder, okay, I'm going to give you a pass. Nimmo's game is grit and speed, and not that he's stealing 40 bases, but he's a good athlete. He's a center fielder who's at the top of the lineup. He probably runs a 6.60. He could run. Go get the baseball. But the one thing, it's interesting how this changes here, all right? At least temporarily, in the evaluation of the Mets. One thing that I've talked a lot about recently is their schedule. Now, their schedule gets really soft after the Dodger series. And because I never had any real fears of the Mets choking away the division, and I'm not even saying that I necessarily have that now. I'm not trying to project that upon you. What I am saying is, if they get their heads handed to them this weekend, then it's game on. But I'm not so sure that they will. But if they do, now, rather than leaning on the soft part of the schedule, which I have, after the Dodgers series, the Pirates, the Nats, the A's, we've run through this a million times here on Tiki and Tierney. I think what you need to start looking at, or at least what I'm looking at today, is what happens before that. Because I almost chose to ignore it, not the 4-game series with the Braves, but I think I was so focused on the Braves, I didn't really fixate on this Phillies series because the Phillies are 10 back. Despite playing pretty good baseball for a while now. But you're coming off a rough series. You got hammered into 3 losses, 21-3. You got crushed. There's no other way to frame it. And it's baseball, and it happens, and it's not the biggest of deal, but 21-3 is still 21-3, all right? And after this, you've got 4 games down in a bandbox against a better hitting team. Well, it's close. Phillies can hit. I mean, I think we all know that they can hit. A comparable team in terms of offensive production. And then you got 2 with the Yankees. Now, that very well, the way the Yankees are playing, we might be lumping the Yankees into the Pirates and the A's file. Holy God, the Yankees look wretched. But things change. Not that I expected to change with the Yankees, but it could. At least not anytime soon. Maybe Bader gets back. That changed a little bit. The Mets need to stabilize this immediately. And you know what? The one thing we've always talked, and it worked out 50%. The thing that we talk about, at least going into the Braves series, hey, even if the Mets don't play well the first 2 games, you got the 2 hammers coming up on the back end. You got Scherzer, you got DeGrom. You don't have that life preserver this series. And that's a big difference. Now, the Phillies aren't as good as the Braves, but they're competitive, man. And I don't know, just got to hope your boy Hernandez didn't mush you. You got to hope it. Got to hope Keith didn't mush the Mets. Just saying.
No, Keith would never mush the Mets.
Not intentionally, obviously. But when you put a professional team on, listen, karma's an interesting thing in the world of sports. And I know that he's Keith, like Rizzuto. I get that. I love him. But he's Keith. Like Rizzuto could say something wacky and get away. Charles Barkley, certain people could say things and get away with it. But he disparaged the entire franchise by saying, I don't want to do these games because this team stinks. The fans heard it. The broadcasters react to it every game. You know, the coaches know it. The city knows it. The team knows it. And here you go. You're bleeding a little bit. Oh, look, he's cut. He's not a machine. He's a man. You know what I mean? So you got a little teeny tiny but visible trickle of blood coming from the eyebrow.
All right. But
What do you do with it?
Well, it's up to the Phillies. Put up or shut up, Phillies. If you suck, then you suck. You're scrubs.
No, but I'm saying from the Mets' point of view.
I'm not worried about it.
No. Well, you don't worry about anything. You're gonna be. I don't even want to project that into the atmosphere. I don't want to say that. But I'm not even saying what I was gonna say. It was a joke, but I don't even want to project that because if it happens, I don't want Met fans really hating me. But no, the Mets are the ones with a little trickle of blood going here. A little bit.
Cut me.
Cut me, Mick, cut me. Now you put a little Vaseline. You got that little thing that they use, that little circular metal thing to smooth it out, blah, blah, blah. You should be fine. Get off the stool, start hammering away.
Listen, the Mets don't...
But you better hammer back.
The Mets don't start playing real ball till they got a little blood in their face.
You're a clown. Some of the things you say, I love you, but that makes no sense. Because they've been playing great baseball. They've had no blood on their face this year.
Now they're going to play better.
Okay, 877-337-6666. Hope everybody's doing well. Tiki and Tierney on the fan. Tiki's out. We're back together on Monday, which will be awesome. By the way, 3 Fridays from now, just let this marinate for a moment. 3 Fridays from now, not only are we talking Yankees and Mets, we're talking Jets Giants. 3 Fridays from now, it's on. All right, we are inside of our Town Fair Tire studio. Our friends at Town Fair remind you that at Town Fair, you always get the guaranteed lowest price on name brand tires from Connecticut to Maine. Nobody beats Town Fair Tire. Nobody. What do you think? Let's get to it. First up, Sonny's in Malvern. He's on the fan, Tiki and Tierney. Sonny, what's going on, bud?
BT, how are you?
How are you, Sonny boy?
Good. Just a little scenario. What if, say, the Jets and Giants, and it's probably going to be happening, have a terrible September, right?
Yes.
Yankees lose first series in October, and the Mets are reeling. And we say, thank God for the Mets. Who would ever have thought that?
Yeah, that has not been used to stabilize emotions very often in these parts. But you know what? Could actually be the case. It's not that crazy.
Yeah, listen, I love you, but I think you're sounding the alarms. I think this weekend is going to have no indication on the end result of the Mets winning the National League. Listen, have they been playing well lately? Of course not, but there's reasons behind that. My only problem with the Mets is I think their only flaw is they have this uncanny, and it's no secret that when DeGrom pitches, obviously they don't score runs. And not only when DeGrom pitches, but they go into these offensive slumps that really upset me. They're really, troublesome. And listen, DeGrom and Scherzer can pitch unbelievable, right? They can pitch a gem going through 7 innings. No runs or 1 run.
Mm-hmm.
They come out of the game, and the middle relief guys gives up runs when the Mets don't score runs. And that's why I was upset when they didn't get Robinson at the deadline.
Yep.
I think that was their only big mistake because Diaz obviously is the best closer right now since Rivera, and I don't think they have any other issues. Like I said, Atlanta kind of snuck up on them because we forgot about them after we played so well.
No, son, hold on. Stop. I'm not letting you off the hook with that. Don't listen. Just say that you got knocked around. Don't say that. You're basically saying the reason the Braves won is because you didn't really pay attention to them. Stop. It's the Braves. It's a rivalry. They're behind you. I'll buy everything else you said. I'm not buying that. That's an excuse.
No, they're a good team, but listen, the Mets did not lose, don't forget, BT, a National League East series until this last one. Yes or no?
This is the first divisional series they've lost all year. Amazing.
Right. So why are you pushing the panic button thinking they're going to lose to Philly?
Well, no, hold on. No, Sonny, I'm not saying that there's flames around us. I'm just saying that there could be a trace of smoke. That's a big difference, And listen, you guys don't agree. That's fine. But think about, let me ask you this. And again, I'm not projecting this with intent or hope that it happens. I'm just throwing out a scenario as we do with everything. What happens? You wake up tomorrow morning, right? and the Mets lose 7-2 tonight. How you feeling then? Are you nervous? Or is it just, well, it's we'll be fine. And I'm not even talking 2007. That's not the road that I'm going down. But there are points of inflection each season. And I certainly think the 5 games at Citi, most recently against the Braves, that was absolutely one. And the Braves looked, I don't want to say overmatched, but they looked like the second best team in the division, which they are, until proven otherwise. But I've been telling you all summer, this Braves team can hit. I never wasted time on the Phillies. Do not discard this Braves team. And while it was a B-minus game, and what do you have, 10 strikeouts, no walks? I mean, DeGrom was, a B-minus game for him. 9 strikeouts. They squared a few balls up on him. Couple of balls, he missed a spot. Now, he's human, so I'm not calling the guy out. But the Braves, I think the next time they face DeGrom, they're going to have a little more confidence than they had going into last night because they squared a couple up. All you had to do was watch the game. Couple hit the other way, couple up the middle, couple in the gap, some hard hit balls that you don't see from DeGrom because he's that good. Let's get Mike in Bayonne. What's going on, Mike? You're on the Fan. How are you today?
Hey, what's going on, Baron?
Hey, Mike. What's up, dude?
Listen, last night this whole series was just frustrating overall. The first 2 games of the series, we lose our starting pitcher first 2 innings of the game. Can't do nothing about that. But last night, it's extremely frustrating to see Connor not being sent home on a base hit up the middle from second base. And then we got the Braves scoring on a base hit up the middle, and the guy scores from first base, Brandon. I mean, it's just unbelievable to me what I was watching last night. Regardless if Nimmo's got a weak arm or not, you cannot score from first base whether the guy's on the run or not.
Not at this level, Mike. Not in AAA, AA, high A, not in college. Really, not even in high school with a competent high school. And I'm not trying to bag on Nimmo. Cannot happen. No excuse.
Absolutely not. And another thing, going down the stretch, the bullpen is going to be the death of this team. Lugo is not the same guy he was in 2017, 2018. He's not locked down anymore.
Nope.
Last night when he came into the game, I just said to my buddy, I'm like, listen, I have no confidence in this guy, and I had that feeling he was just going to give up the game, and it happened. Now, Mike,
Mike, Mike, hold on. I got to go back to something you said. I jotted it down. I want to lose this, and I know sometimes we're in the middle of, we're just throwing words out and we're worked up. It happens to everybody. But you just said, quote, the bullpen is going to be the death of us, end quote. Now, are you saying straight up that you believe the Mets are about to collapse?
No, I'm not saying that, but I do. I have that something saying, in the playoffs, bringing in the bullpen, game comes down to the pen. Besides Diaz, I just have no confidence in this pen right now.
I agree with that.
Don't.
I don't think that you should actually.
No. I don't think the Mets are going to give up the division per se. But this Braves team is not going to go away down the stretch.
No chance are they going to go away.
I think if the Mets can keep this 4.5, 5.5 games going into the last weekend of the year, they got it wrapped up.
Well, Mike, I'll even push it a step further in a positive direction. Thanks for the call there, buddy. I don't even think that it needs to be 4 or 5, whatever number you want to throw out for the final week. That's why I think this weekend's so important. Hey, if the Mets split, you're golden. If you lose 3 out of 4, not good and a little worrisome. If you get swept, look out. All right? But I think just as the schedule softens, you guys are going to win a lot of games down the stretch. You are. But you got to stop the bleeding. You got to stop it. Because funny, momentum's an interesting thing, positively or negatively. When you're rolling with the mojo, you feel like you're on top of the world. And, collectively, while the Yankees are going through this, and the Yankees, as I believe, just won't prove to be good enough to actually snap out of this and win. I don't see them winning anything, really. The Yankees have had this for a long time now, 5 weeks. This is the first real little flirtation where possibly something different enters the Mets' collective mental state. I'm not even saying that it will, but it's the first time they got to really think about something. You get on a plane, you lose a tough one, you get knocked around 3 games. Here come the Braves, defending champions. You know, you don't have the Grom and Scherzer this series coming up. Bullpen, sloppy game on the bases, sloppy game with the play up the middle with Nimmo we talked about. That's an ugly loss. That's the ugliest loss of the season. I think it's indisputable. And now we will see, really, what we've always lauded this team for having, great resilience. Now they really need to go back to that well and snuff this out quick. Because if they don't, it's going to get dicey. 877-337-6666. Tiki and Tierney on the Fan. I'll get more into those Yankees later, but right now we're talking Mets.